Hey everybody, how's it going? It is a tired Sunday afternoon for us three. This is Heretical Weekends number 35, and the subject for today is Ken Ham's Ark Encounter Grand Opening. A very unlucky group of Christians tried to set up a God's Not Dead billboard, which was rejected. So we're going to talk about that. I really want to talk about Gavagai's Jesus doll, but I don't think he's going to let us.
It's private.
And fuck arcane logos. Ta-ta-ta! I remember. So, what have you guys been up to? This is, of course, my partners in crime, Gavagai and Turtle.
Gavagai came and visited me in Wisconsin.
No kidding.
Well, I was up there, but instead of visiting with Turtle at all, I just played pickleball instead.
Yeah, because he came down to California and doesn't visit my ass either, even though he said he was. So.
No, but unlike you, I actually did visit with Turtle, so.
Yeah, the one time he comes down here, I was like, yeah, dude, we'll grab some dinner or something. Okay, cool. And then he's like, I just didn't call the guy. I feel like I was stood up on a prom night or something.
I felt bad about it.
No, you didn't. You fucking you liar. But so anyway, we're late again because we've been Google Plus. So as always, we try our best, but we apologize for any technical difficulties because I don't think the original advertisement or the original Google Plus you know how you set it up ahead of time and people respond yes, no, or maybe if they're going to attend. Apparently, it didn't go out to anybody. At least it didn't look like it. I don't know. I don't know if it showed up. I have no idea. So I started this other one, so I apologize if there's any confusion. But so let's get started. As you guys know, you probably heard in the news that Ken Ham's Ark Encounter finally opened. Finally! I can't wait. I couldn't wait. It was too exciting. I don't have a TV, so have you guys heard about this in the news at all?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Ken Ham's Ark Encounter finally opened.
Yes.
I don't have a TV, so have you guys heard about it like on your news or anything like that?
I don't really watch TV, so I don't know if it was on there. I mean, I'm aware of it just because of like Google Plus, people posting about it and stuff. But
Yeah, I saw a bunch of posts about it on Facebook.
Okay, because you live in BFE, right, Gabby? So I figured that's right in your backyard where the Ark Encounter.
I live in Arkansas,
Yeah. Where's the Ark at?
Kentucky.
You know.
Just like you in Colorado, right?
It's
Whatever
like
happens in Colorado is...
Six of one, fuck your cousin of another. You know, it's all the same shit. I know, like, most people, especially if you're on the West Coast, can't tell one Bible Belt or Southern state from the other. You know, like, Kentucky is Tennessee, is Virginia, it's all kind of the same sort of weird, ancestral, toothless sort of family of states. Not that I'm generalizing, but I'm just saying that's how it appears to us in a more urban metropolitan area. All right, Gavagai's giving me a mental fuck you. So let's get started. Okay, so the Ark Encounter. I came up on this page, or this guy on my Google Plus page, and I gotta figure out how to fucking wait. Hold on. It's been a while. It's been a while for the screen share. Okay, guys. So just.
It's closer to Ohio than it is to
Oh, is it
Arkansas.
really? All right, Mr. Atlas. I get it. He's like, let me bust you off some geographical knowledge and shit. You ignorant bastard. So, actually, this is the video I was watching off this guy's Facebook page, but this is sort of, I didn't know Ken Ham's Ark thing actually opened. So, it's kind of funny. He goes through his impressions of like what he saw and stuff, and as he goes through, this is very much like a Jurassic Park kind of thing, the opening and stuff, and one of the things I found interesting, which was one of the more controversial things about the Ark opening, was Ken Ham posted this picture, I think on his Twitter or something, or Answer the Genesis Facebook, and it showed like 4,000 people. And I guess the idea was that, it gave the impression that there was this huge turnout. But to my knowledge, or later on, it was kind of revealed that these were all specifically invited people from like the city or the whatever, like news media outlets. I can't find it right now, but I'll come upon it. So when this guy showed up, he said maybe a third of the parking lot was full, maybe. If you read through the parking lot had at least 10 to 15 workers directing traffic, but even though we arrived more than an hour after the Ark opened, the lot was about a third of the way full. Regardless, I almost literally couldn't contain my excitement for what was in store. So he goes through what he did say, and hey, Gabby, you're pretty good at Bible shit, right? So, right?
I don't know what that means.
So I'm looking at this video, right? And the Islander guy has tattoos, and I thought you couldn't have tattoos and get into heaven. Or is he one of the bad guys?
That was before the law, so...
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I don't know who this chick is, but I'd probably totally do her. So he goes through, and that's what's important here. So he goes through and says how essentially the first floor is pretty lame, but when you get to this part, it gets into like evolution and how the monsters were fed, and all this other stuff that doesn't make any sense. Like another placard in the same room addresses the issue of space in the Ark. Ken says that God, of course, in his infinite wisdom, would have sent Noah baby animals as they take up less space, require less food, and don't poop and pee as much. So apparently, seems a bit ad hoc of an explanation to me, because all the pictures that I saw growing up were fully grown giraffes and shit and elephants like walking on in. But and quite frankly, baby animals aren't. I mean, from a size standpoint, yeah, they're easier to take care of, but they require a whole different set of like things to make sure they live. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just give them baby animals. Like, they need like fucking vitamins and you know what I mean, like all sorts of shit to like it's a whole nother animal, no pun intended. So the main problem he had was, he said the lighting was really horrible when he got upstairs, mainly because the taxidermy looked like shit, and I think he said at one point like he'd be able to do better. But like, this is a pterodactyl here in a cage, because I guess pterodactyls can, I don't know, they don't need to like spread their wings or anything.
Or maybe they did, and they just all died on the Ark, and that's why we don't have them anymore.
I just remember watching the old Noah's Ark movie when I was a kid, the one from like, I don't know if it's the 50s or the 40s or whatever, but I remember as the flood came, the unicorns were running toward the Ark, and they didn't make it. That's why there's no unicorns. Like, they got swept up in the water.
What Noah's Ark movie?
I swear I saw this Noah's Ark movie where they're fucking unicorns, and they're like...
Is this a cartoon?
No, it was... I'll try to find it at one point when you guys are talking about some shit. But I swear there's like unicorns, and they're running toward the Ark, and like they don't make it because the fucking water, the flood gets them. And I remember my mom going, "Yep, that's why there's no more unicorns." And I was like, "Thanks, Mom."
Wait a minute. There's a Noah's Ark 1928. It looks like black and white.
I saw it in Technicolor, so I think it was. So it was redone. That's why I didn't know what the time frame was. What did you find it?
Dolores Costello with George O'Brien. It looks like.
But what's it called?
It's just called Noah's Ark.
Noah's
1928.
Ark 1928.
So were the unicorns more sinful than the other animals? Why did God choose for them not to survive?
I don't know. Why are you asking me logic about Bible shit?
I'm just putting it out there. I mean, one would have to assume that the unicorns not living past the flood would be part of God's plan. So I'm just curious why that. Why do we get horses but not unicorns?
My guess is that they're two gay male unicorns, and they were taken out because everyone knows unicorns are fabulous.
True.
But so then he goes in to explain about unclean and clean animals. But anyway, so basically he goes through, and if you read it, he says that when it comes to this is actually funny. He said, finally we reached the stern of the ark. While still poorly lit, I did happen to find 2 articles of clothing and a puddle of mysterious brown liquid. I'll leave you to speculate as to what the brown liquid was. So I think a young Christian lad had a poopy incident, and they just kind of left the hose there.
On opening day?
On opening day, I guess.
Wow.
I don't. But he said most of the objections on the plaques are basically what he refers to as "nuh-uh" to science. You're saying "nuh-uh." Like he's here like extremely defensive and saying "nuh-uh" to skeptics. So he kind of that's a theme throughout this whole experience. But that's what kind of got me thinking about this arc thing because, and we can go into more stuff later. But we've talked about this briefly before, and this thing took like $1 bajillion and heavy machinery and engineering to pull this thing off. And for the life of me, I can't understand how anybody can think that like 8 people built this thing. What was there? Is there a horse in there? Someone's room? Or?
That's my dog.
So what do you? So what are your guys' impressions of the arc opening?
It sounds silly to me. I'm not really steeped in all the science, but it sounds a little far-fetched to me.
Well, we know the story's full of shit. I'm just saying, like, what do you think of like the park in general, the opening of it, the $100 million it took to build it?
Yeah, I heard from a couple of different sources that the opening day was not well attended, and that they were probably anticipating a lot larger crowd, but
Right.
One would think so with all the money and effort put into it, but
So
I'm hoping that in a year or so that they go kind of belly up because of finances, but we'll see.
we'll just have this giant unattended arc sitting out in Kentucky. It's bizarre.
Do you guys think that hypothetically, if God was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna flood the earth again because I'm a big liar," and He floods the earth, do you think people would try to get on the ark, like the fake ark, just because they're stupid? You know what I mean? Like, well, it'll float.
Jesus can make it float.
Jesus can make it float. So the title of this is Creationist Ken Ham gets busted lying about Ark exhibit abysmal opening day turnout. I just Googled this, so I'm not familiar with Dead State. I assume it's an anti-red state website, so take it for what it's worth. But I have seen this picture on several media pages, like a lot. This particular one. And the reason being is because this is the one that Ken Ham posted with all the people. And then he posted like, oh, here are the atheist protesters. They're a small minority. But look at this great turnout. So the turnout was for 8,300 VIP guests and 150 media representatives. But from what I've read, this is the picture that Ken Ham posted saying, look at the great turnout for the opening. Making it seem like it's some huge deal. Anyone else think Ken Ham's just a big fucking liar?
Well, yeah, he's a big fucking liar. But I mean, regardless of the silliness of it, I wouldn't be amazed if they even had a really big turnout because it's a big, giant, weird thing. Like I would go to it. Like if it was by me, I would go to it like right away.
You'd pay the $40 per person to get in.
Sure, once.
Would you fly down to Kentucky for it?
No.
Oh,
but
okay.
if I was there,
right. If you were like,
I'd go to it once.
It's kind of like one of those, those cross country like tour, like road trips where it's like you have to stop off at all the weird places on the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that happening, but it would just be so funny to see fucking baby dinosaurs like in cages and stuff, because there are pictures of like baby brontosauruses in like cages and and shit like that. But
I don't understand the logic of putting dinosaurs on the ark because
They
there's no
clearly
like
aren't here now.
I would think if I was a creationist, I'd say, oh, the flood is when the dinosaurs got wiped out, if anything. But apparently not. Apparently they survived the flood, but then died. They all died in some other random.
what if I told you
thing.
about bringing logic into this shit?
Sorry. I'll mute myself.
Why did So
Who invited that guy anyhow?
yeah, there's actually a video of a female. I don't know who she is, but she's walking along like in line in this line, kind of like doing a selfie video of hi Heavy Holler. I think he's watching. Like seeing how there's not a lot of people. There's like maybe like a couple people behind her, like walking through this endless turnstile, and so I don't know. It's $100 million. I mean, is this all from donations? Because this isn't from like taxes, right, or anything? Because I noticed. Oh, I read this article that Eric Hovind, they made up all these signs and they put them on the road going up to the Ark Encounter because that's where the protesters were, where Aaron Ra was there and David Silverman and all that shit. And they tried to like give them like Gatorade, and they bought Gatorade from like in every color, like all the colors of fucking Gatorade, so that way they can show the quote unquote free thinkers that they're all about like all peoples and colors and stuff coming together for this. And the guy from Chick-fil-A came down and offered them food from Chick-fil-A, and they're just like, we don't want to eat Chick-fil-A because they're like anti-LGBT whatever. I can't remember the acronym, but LGBT. Okay, and the marriage thing and homosexual stuff. And so Eric Hovind goes to this. Oh, now I got your echo, Turtle. Eric Hovind goes to this article. He writes this kind of a blog thing where he's saying like how appalled he is that they won't accept their free gift, just because it's from Christians and stuff. And it's like, I can't believe how they don't want to accept our kindness and stuff, and they're so intolerant and that kind of shit. And it's like, you're an asshole, right? I just want to go, hey, Eric, you're kind of an asshole, right? So eventually, I guess some of the people went on the Ark to do the tour because they invited him for free to go see the tour and stuff. But I was surprised that Ken Ham actually personally invited Bill Nye. And Bill Nye showed up. And I haven't actually read like what Bill Nye was what actually he said. I would love to like get his opinion, like read his blog or an article. But essentially he went in there and it was like, no. No, much like the debate, right? It was like no. And I didn't actually look at these pictures yet, but I want to find the one where it has the brontosauruses in the cage, because that's really hilarious to me. So, what do you guys think? Waste of time?
Sure.
Waste of money, and just sad. I mean, it's just the reason that this exists is because of a huge. I mean, it's just a symptom of big cultural ignorance,
Yeah. I think Bill Nye was like, he said something to the effect of, see, his takeaway, the kids are being brainwashed, and it makes me sad because people are in there with their kids and they just are teaching them some, it's so frustrating to me. Who would think, like, to see fake dinosaurs in a small cage and go totally legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pterodactyl, totally legit. You know.
Well, and like one of the big things, I'm sure I haven't even read about this, but the whole idea of this um, divisions of animals into different kinds, right? That's a big thing that Ken
Right.
Ham is always on about, and all these creationists, and uh, it's never well defined, and nor do they actually break out the animals into the kinds, so you could see how many kinds are there and which animals fit into which kind, and I'm using air quotes there, obviously. So
Yeah.
I would love for them to get specific enough that people could actually produce some numbers and show how much space, even give us your best scenario as far as numbers, and let's say they're all babies or whatever. How does that work, and how much space would it actually take? My guess is that there wouldn't be enough space on the Ark for like oxygen if you actually tried to pack in one of every kind, however you want to define it.
Well, they had one of
Uh,
every plant too.
yeah.
So plants were creating oxygen too.
No, I don't think that's biblical, Todd. A
Well,
turtle.
neither is the baby thing. We make it up as we go.
Yeah.
Heavy Holler is watching, and he's
Angry.
sending me a litany of links and messages and stuff, and he says it's unclear how much money the Ark has earned since opening, but in its first 6 days, a spokeswoman told NBC News there had been about 30,000 visitors. Says, but critics say there's another questionable perk: a 2% tax on employees' gross wages intended to help pay off the attraction over the next 30 years. Talking about Bill Nye, he takes issue with a tax break that the Commonwealth of Kentucky provided to the Ark, built at a cost of $102 million. While the Ark was paid for by a mix of private donations and municipal bonds backed by the project's future revenues, adult tickets cost $40, while admission is $28 for children from 5 to 12. Ham insists that taxpayers aren't on the hook for any costs. And I'm not sure. This is my favorite. Oh, thanks, Heavy. Check this out. So here is a picture of the brontosaurus in the cage. Now, I'm not sure who they got to make these models, but a brontosaurus is huge. I mean, massive, right? We've all seen Jurassic Park, right? A baby, this wouldn't even be a brontosaurus baby. You know what I mean? I don't know. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a fucking paleontologist or whatever, but my guess would be a brontosaurus baby would be bigger than this.
I don't know. I don't know. But I would be very curious to find out what the man hours were that were put into building the Ark, and then figure out how that math works out with Noah's family.
Yeah, well, I think there's a picture on here. Okay, not on this one. Damn it, Heavy. But there's a picture on there that has it shows all the massive lumber involved and stuff, and
Maybe you know what? Maybe the baby animals helped build it. Like God made all the animals come to the Ark, but maybe they all brought some wood with them too, and then all chipped in a little bit of manpower.
I heard one creationist say that that the adult animals all arrived at the Ark pregnant and just about to give birth, and then gave birth to two, a male and a female offspring, and then Noah and his family just loaded them on the Ark, those babies.
right. But you still they're only taking into account a quantity of food, right, and waste. But again, you need like mommy's milk. You know what I
Right.
mean? They that's not just like milk.
Mrs. Noah breastfed them all.
They was right. They need like other things, or they die. Like they just,
Well,
you can't just have.
mammals, not the brontosauruses though.
Yeah.
Their mommies
Oh,
don't
right.
need milk. But
They just
I do
need thousands
love
of
I love
pounds of.
how that they Christians will just make up this stuff and not care that it's not in the Bible. Or I mean, even if that were true, like that they brought these babies to the ark, like you have no way of knowing that because the Bible doesn't say it, and wherever you got that from, they just made it up.
Right.
What? Yeah, buddy. Look at that. Totally Noah can do that shit. Was it him and 8 people? The 8 people?
Yeah.
Something like
Yep.
that.
That seems legit. I wonder how Noah got that crane though. I mean, did he rent that or?
Well, to be fair, Noah's supposedly lived to be several hundred years old, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but he would still have to move all that lumber. I mean,
yeah, but he just did like a little bit per day, you know.
and how did he know how to do?
So.
I can barely hang a fucking picture and make it level. You know what I mean? Like by myself. So, like when I was putting up this long, heavy shelf, you know, like in my bedroom, it was ridiculous to try to hold it up and try to do all the anchor bolts and my girlfriend held or my ex-girlfriend held one side and I did the other. Well, I had to make sure it was level and stuff. You're telling me these dudes built this giant boat?
They've been lifting some weights.
They're like
Yeah.
the fucking
Supposedly
X-Men and shit.
Noah was like 500 years old when he started to build the ark.
Started.
And then lived to be 950.
Yeah, but wasn't he kind of a dick anyway, like a drunk and a fucking and all that stuff?
After the ark, and yes, he got wasted on some wine or something, and he was naked in his tent.
Yeah, wasn't he like naked and shit? And how do you?
That would piss me off if I was Noah, and I lived to be like as old as Yoda, and like all the things I've done in my life, and that's one of the things that gets documented.
I mean, what did Noah do between the years 500 and 900?
He built the ark, right?
Hung out, had sex with his wife and whoever.
Whoever. It's his wife and.
Where did he get the wine from?
At that point.
Well, the wife was part of it. I mean, it's supposedly it was Noah and his wife, his sons. I think he had like 3 sons and their wives. So Shem, Ham, and Japheth, or something like that, were the sons.
Good thing none of them were barren or anything, because that would have sucked.
Right.
Yeah, and there are some like biblical apologists who think that Ham was a black child, and
What?
Well, to explain why we have different races.
Different races, right? Yeah, and then one of them was like Asian, and the other one was white. And I guess I don't know where the like Middle Eastern people or Native Americans or
Native
Aboriginal
Americans would be Mongolian or Mongoloid or whatever.
Sure,
right?
sure. They came over on the land bridge, right? Much more recently than it appears to be from
and
archaeological.
all 3 of those brothers split up into different parts of the world too, and just kind of kept to themselves apparently.
Right.
So wait. So somebody somewhere said that the babies were different races.
Yeah.
Now,
Because that makes sense.
Because that's not anywhere in the Bible, right? Obviously, I've never heard of that.
Well, I mean, it's not in the Bible, but you could make it's understandable where that logic comes from, because that if Noah and all his children are white or black or any one race, then you got big problems because we got more than one race. So
Well, if I was Noah and my wife started giving birth to uh, other ethnicities, I would guess stowaways. But yeah, I've never heard of that, dude. That's crazy. That's very
So,
Maury Povich.
well, and there's even like one of the. So Ham was supposedly one of the sons and he was supposedly cursed according to like Genesis 9:20 through 27. That Ham, because he laughed instead of covering up Noah when he was naked and drunk, the other two sons covered him up, so he was cursed. And somehow they got into this. They ascribed like African descent or something to Ham, and but this became like a basis or rationale for slavery in the U.S. No, I'm serious. Let's hang on. Let me find the curse of Ham. Let's see.
He's like, I curse you to lower property values wherever you live. Like, I mean,
Here we go. European and American slavery. The explanation that black Africans as, quote, sons of Ham were cursed, possibly blackened by their sins, was advanced only sporadically during the Middle Ages, but became increasingly common during slave trade of the 18th and 19th centuries. The justification of slavery itself through the sins of Ham well-suited ideological interests of the elite. With the emergence of the slave trade, its racialized version of justified exploitation of African labor.
wow.
This is from
ignorant shit.
Wikipedia, the Curse of Ham article.
Wow. I've never heard of that, dude. That's crazy.
And Joseph Smith also kind of adopted
Yeah.
this whole thing. So
Yeah, I know Mormons were like brown skin is cursed or something, right? I'm fucked, by the way, but yeah.
Me too.
we'll just hope that the Mormons aren't right.
He's like, I curse you with bad credit and lower than average GPA scores. Fuck! That's a joke. It's a fucking joke, man.
That's not funny.
It's not a politically correct joke, but it's a fucking joke. Someone's laughing. Heavy Hauler's fucking laughing. That's all I know.
Don't drag him down with you.
He's not here to defend himself.
I'm channeling my inner Heavy Hauler at the moment. He's laughing. He's giggling to himself.
It's just because it's an uncomfortable Twitter.
Right. He's right now he's throwing Power Rangers at the camera. No, shut up. We love you, Heavy. In other quick news from this arc, from Pathos.com, the friendly atheist blog. So I'm just going through interesting shit that I found, I believe. So Kentucky lost $18 million in tax rebates. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Okay, so there's a ministry portion, which is Answers in Genesis, and there's the Ark Encounter, which is a theme park. And because Answers in Genesis is a ministry, as to work there, they can make you take like what they call you have to sign a faith statement, and you have to basically say, hey, I'm a Christian, in writing essentially. But because Noah's Ark, the Ark Encounter, is a theme park, they were supposed to be eligible for tax rebates. Well, they also try to do that for the Ark, which means it's discriminatory. So they lost like $18 million in like tax rebates because of this part right here. So it's kind of funny, but possibly not that interesting, but kind of funny. But I mean, do they really need more money for that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess they're trying to pay off that $100 million, but
money is money.
But yeah, I guess I just. All right. So, and this was just a quick article on more of the same stuff, fake animals, blah 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 blah. I was reading something interesting in here, and I can't quite remember what it is, so I'm gonna say fuck it. But
I think Freedom from Religion Foundation put out a statement like warning public schools in the area there that they should not take field trips to the Ark Encounter, which good for them.
yeah, I read that too somewhere.
Go FFRF.
I think this one gave the dimensions: 301 million board feet of timber. Now, like when I read something like this, like 3.1 million board feet of timber, how did Noah even get that much? And like transport it, and then like how do you have the wood? I mean, he didn't have like fucking nails, did he? I mean, or if he did he make them himself? Like nails aren't going to hold up, and wood bends and warps, and I mean, none of this shit makes sense, man.
You got help from the aliens who are taking a break from building Inca pyramids and came over to him.
I thought this was funny. It says, unfortunately, the Ark's top deck, which should have great views of the Grant County countryside, isn't finished yet. Neither is the zip line. I skipped the petting zoo. I think that was like, apparently there's a petting zoo on the top, but there is a zip line that goes off the top that wasn't done, and I read that in a couple articles. But wow, it's just like in the Bible. There's a zip line off the top of the Ark.
Someone. There was a guy that called into Atheist Experience this last week who was at the opening. He was a skeptic or whatever, and was just kind of reporting back what he saw and experienced there or whatever. But one of the things he mentioned was a plaque in the Ark Encounter that said something about Noah hiring laborers to help build the Ark, which is totally
what? What, he hit the Home Depot or something? Like to get some day laborers?
Yeah. No. Apparently, he outsourced it.
Noah rolled by Home Depot at about 6:30 in the morning, picked up some day laborers, helped him build the Ark. But I tell you what, if he did have fucking day laborers, they would have got that shit done in half the time, like 300 years. They would have fucking had that shit done and ready to go. They don't mess around. So.
Yeah. But totally no basis for that in the Bible either. So you can apparently just make up whatever you want.
Well, that's the I mean, it's one thing for a person to say, oh yeah, he probably had day laborers, but if you're building an actual like exhibit and like putting this out as though it's fact, that surprises me at least a little bit. Like the babies and that he had babies, like
baby
where
animals,
are you getting that
space
from?
And he had a shrinkifier.
Like somebody who is involved with this, who thinks that this is legitimate, has to like look at that and say like, well, Ken, you just made that up. Like that, where do you get that from? Like.
But they didn't make it on the Ark, right? So what happened when the flood happened? He's like, thanks for building our boat. You have to die now.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia. Just like close the fucking door and let them all drown. I mean, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, that is pretty messed up.
Did you guys remember that movie? Bye, Felicia.
No.
Oh, it's from that movie Friday.
Oh.
Oh man. See, us here on the West Coast. No, but well, that's the Ark Encounter. I mean, I hope it goes belly up, but
Yeah.
You guys have any final words? Because we're moving on to God's Not Dead 2.
I would be fine with it not going belly up as long as people go there sarcastically.
Right. Well, once you go there once, I mean, there's not much to do. It's not like you built a fucking roller coaster on top like the Stratosphere in Las Vegas or something, or you know what I mean? Like you go there, you see some shitty fucking animals. Essentially, it's just a kind of a museum, right, with fake animals in it, and I mean, you're there to marvel at the size and the construction of it and stuff like that, and you go, wow, this is a fucking huge boat. Like even the atheists that went in there and were like filming it, and everyone's like just in awe of like its size and stuff. It's big. And then the next question you should immediately be asking yourself is, how in the fuck did these guys build this thing? I mean, I would give him 1,000 years and say he wouldn't be able to even get the fucking materials together in time to have to cut it. How did he measure it? He didn't have any fucking measuring tools. That's what I'm saying. I can barely hang a fucking shelf, not straight without a fucking level. I mean, did God divinely inspire him to like fucking make everything perfect?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Fuck me then. He just sort of knew.
Here's my final thought on this: is if our current civilization manages to wipe itself out, but the Ark still survives, and then like later in time, people come across the Ark and also like the Bible. I just hope that like future generations aren't confused and think that the Ark was real. Then that's my only thought.
Somebody said, how there's that like front end and it has like that swoopy sort of thing that sticks out in front.
Yeah.
That part of a boat is made for boats that steer. I guess apparently. I remember I was reading somewhere someone said it doesn't make any sense they would have that on there because the Ark was meant just to sort of float and sort of survive. There's no steering mechanism on the boat, so there's no reason to have that even on there. And that technology for boats came hundreds and hundreds of years after Noah would have lived. So how the fuck did they, you know what I mean? Like that would never have been on there. There's not only is there any knowledge of it, unless you can just use the God caveat, but there's no reason to because there's no steering mechanism.
Yeah, I also wonder, if it came to rest on the mountain, as the water receded, and that thing is resting on the side of a mountain, wouldn't it like roll down the mountain just the way it's shaped?
At the very least, it would snap.
Yeah. Well, there's
killing all the pterodactyls.
Oh no.
It's like Jurassic Park at the end of the first one where the pterodactyls just like flying off over the ocean. Like, it's a whole new world for them. They're just like flying off into the sunset. But there's a show I believe it's on Starz called Black Sails, and it's essentially a prequel to like Treasure Island, right? But the long and short is that it's a fucking pirate show, and at one point, in one scene, they were trying to scrape the barnacles off the bottom or doing something, and it takes a whole fucking mess of people, pulleys, and ropes to like maneuver a boat onto a beach, because the thing just topples over like immediately, right? And this is not on water; it just topples right over. So, your point is well taken in that when the water receded, the thing just fell right over, just crushed a bunch of animals. Under its massive weight. So I guess what I'm saying is the Ark story is full of shit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So we're gonna move on.
On so many different levels, makes absolutely no sense.
That's that's funny because the Ark story is one of the chief reasons why it was a sort of a mutual agreement for me not to go back to Bible study when I was a kid. I remember being in the second grade, and they would read you Bible stories, while my mom was in church, and I was like, you go to the little kid class and whatever. And I know this sounds cliche, but I was asking a bunch of questions, like, because I was a big, big, big fan of going to the Natural History Museum, and I was one of those animal kids that like dinosaurs and stuff. So to me, it didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, because I understood how big they were even then and stuff, and so.
So in Sunday school, you stood up and were like, "That's bullshit."
Yeah, right. You're full of shit, teacher. But no, I started asking questions about sizes and stuff, and how do they do that? And Tyrannosaurus Rexes eat everything in their sight. Like, how did that even happen? And it was sort of at one point I remember just going. My mom was like, "Are you're coming to church?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And quite frankly, the teacher doesn't want me there anyway. Like, I remember just distinctively this lady. She was kind of on the younger side, maybe her mid to late 20s, and for whatever reason, I just remembered like this kind of frustrated but exasperated look on her face, like, shut the fuck up, kid. You know what I mean? Like she had like the pursed lips, like she just wanted to just like, shut the fuck up, kid, but but she couldn't, and so it got really awkward after a couple of weeks. I just stopped going, and I haven't gone back since. But I guess what I'm trying to say is questions aren't welcome. so,
Yeah.
so, all right, we're moving on from the arc and on to God's Not Dead. Now, this is actually a turtle story, so I'm gonna let him go with this one. But when he first brought this up, my first thought was Trey Jadlow, and the reason being is Trey Jadlow was really big on Christian persecution, and so I'm sure when he read this, he was feverishly masturbating to this article or these or this story, just feverishly and vigorously masturbating to his Christian persecution. So, Turtle, I'm going to let you take over this one. Take it away, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, so I just found out about this through Facebook, the little trending hashtags or whatever. But yeah, so apparently what are they called? Pure Flix had plans to put up a billboard outside the RNC.
GOP.
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Never mind. Ignore me.
They had plans to put up the billboard outside the RNC, and just a couple of days ago or a week ago, they were informed that their billboard had been rejected based on the fact that it was
Incendiary.
Incendiary. That's what it was. It was too incendiary and too political. So I found this fascinating because there's kind of a bunch of surprising elements to me anyway. One is that it seemed kind of strange to me that a Christian billboard would be considered incendiary outside of the Republican National Convention. But
Well, and especially one of that had the kind of message that this one had. I mean, if it was like fags will burn in hell from Westboro Baptist Church, yeah, I could see that they wouldn't want to put that up. That would be incendiary. But this one was nothing like that.
yeah, so the sign said, and this comes from the movie. It says, "I'd rather stand with God and be judged by the world than stand with the world and be judged by God." And it had a picture of Melissa Joan Hart. But the movie's coming out on DVD and Blu-ray, and so that's why it's being advertised. Now, the cynical part of me wonders if this wasn't sort of intentional on Pure Flix's part. Like, the conspiracy theorist in me wonders if somehow they had some sort of agreement with this Orange Barrel that Orange Barrel wouldn't let them put them up, so they could make a stink and then get a whole bunch of free advertising out of this instead of just some small advertising outside of a specific location. Now they've got it all over the place because they can cry persecution. But whatever the case, yeah, I just found it. I found it. The other thing too is that the whole movie is based on, and their whole mindset is based on Christians not being able to say what they think, and here is a real life situation where they are in some ways being censored. And on top of that too, you also have the from over the last year or so, since gay marriage has been effectively legalized, you have all those different Christian businesses who are at least threatening, if not outright refusing, to do business for homosexuals, like the cake, the wedding cakes situation. And recently, I saw on Facebook somebody posted about someone just wanted a birthday cake for their significant other, and it had nothing to do with being gay or anything, but the bakery ended up looking up this person on Facebook and found out they were gay, and then told them that they weren't going to make the cake for them. But anyway, so you have these situations coming up, and now the Christians are the ones being rejected. But I would say the difference in this case is that the Christians are being rejected based on their message, not the fact that they're Christians themselves.
You know what's funny? I was actually I'm not sure if you guys saw, but I had to look up Melissa Joan Hart's age. I'm surprised. She's the same age as I am, 39, which is like time fucking flies. But my first thought process is, if they really want to advertise for that movie, they should have put a picture of Melissa Joan Hart from 1998, because I would have went out and bought the movie then. But it's a joke. Relax, my little social justice warriors. But no, but I'm kind of in agreement with you, Turtle. Actually, in a lot of ways, you said that to me, and for some reason, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. I'm like, what? That fucking shit makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, that's genius. But I'm not even familiar with PureFlix.
They make a whole bunch of different Christian. I mean, they're just a Christian company that makes Christian movies, as far as I know.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was like a generic Netflix kind of thing, where it's like a movie. Oh, okay.
No. Go ahead.
No, okay. So it's actually like a production company that makes Christian movies. Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah,
So
they made God's Not Dead and God's Not Dead 2, but the article also said that they've even made some or done some filming for like the GOP. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that's what it said.
I don't know about that, but I mean they have done other movies as well. A lot of cheap movies that haven't gone, like I think just direct to video movies, but.
The hell you say? So that's sort of the Billboard.
Yeah.
And
so
this is the one that was
you
sort
go
of
back
put
up to it?
Oh, yeah.
Just because, and I am in agreement with PureFlix to an extent in that I don't think that there's anything incendiary about this. So, I mean, that's what makes me wonder about the situation, just because. Like, there's nothing about like hell or even. I mean, and those are just kind of like basic Christian beliefs, like.
Well, let me put it. Let me throw another thought out there. Let me lob something else out there. So instead of God, you put the word Allah, and I think from their standpoint, right? Obviously, it wouldn't fly. It'd go over like a fucking fart in an elevator. So. Given that, maybe they just have a sort of hard stance about anything that's that. You know what I mean? Like, if it was a different quote, maybe they would have let it go. But, by God, they obviously mean the Christian God, right? So they're thinking anything along that title, God, Allah, probably not Vishnu or whatever, but maybe. Maybe they have a hard policy against that sort of thing.
Maybe, but I mean, God's Not Dead is the title of the film, so they should have known that.
Right. Well,
that was going to be that there was going to be some reference to God in this advertisement.
Right, but I think it's because they use the actual word. I'd rather stand with God, like God. She's referring directly to the entity. Now, maybe if she would have said like a different quote that's along Christian, along their thought process or whatever, but didn't refer to God directly? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just speculating because.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way you're right that they would, if it was Allah, that they might not want to do that just because it would get a lot of people angry at them, because there would be a lot of Christians who took offense to that, but that's not that wouldn't be the company's fault. That would be the fault of the Christians who are idiots for being upset by the word Allah.
Right, and I understand that, and I don't disagree with you. I'm just thinking that maybe it's this orange barrel media that has just a stance that any direct, reference to a deity is a no bueno. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but I mean, like, how many times have you been out on the road and you've seen like a billboard, an anti-abortion billboard?
Out here in California, a lot, but orange barrel media isn't big out here. All the billboards that I see out here are Clear Channel.
I mean, but I'm just saying in general, like, I'm assuming that they probably, maybe this company doesn't, but it's such a common thing.
I understand.
Here's from the article from this conservative news source or whatever it is, the cnsnews.com. It says the Orange Barrel cited the Republican National Committee rules barring quote-unquote scandalous signage around the convention. Pureflix responded that former GOP presidential candidate Mike Huckabee appears in the film God's Not Dead 2, and that the GOP has partnered with Pureflix for a worship service on the eve of the convention, following a screening of God's Not Dead 2 with food provided by Chick-fil-A. Orange Barrel
Super
also
Christian
warned that
party.
the city of Cleveland might have a problem with the message.
And he's like, and then afterwards, they're going to get everyone together to throw Bibles at homosexuals.
I do think it's funny though that they would. To me, it kind of just cites the ignorance of just like, oh, Mike Huckabee is in this, and he's a Republican. Well, Mike Huckabee doesn't represent all Republicans.
Yeah, he's actually speaking at the convention too, I believe.
Yeah, I think he is too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. When you have a clause in your contract like that is kind of open to interpretation, you have to at least at some point think to yourself, if you're Pureflix, well, it could go against you. You know what I mean? Like, especially if Orange Barrel Media says this falls under our scandalous category, what are you going to do? I mean, they're a privately owned company, right?
Yeah.
They're going to complain about it and say they're persecuted.
Yeah.
But I
They're
mean, there's no way that if Pureflix, if this is all legit, there's no way that they're thinking that is scandalous or incendiary just because of their own mindset.
Right. Apparently, Orange Barrel Media is willing to stand with the world and be judged by God. The exact opposite of it. Yeah, I just there's the whenever I read these articles about trade, like I said, Trey used to post this stuff all the time about Christian persecution and stuff, and then in the comments section it'll be like a school says they can't do this or that and stuff, and most of the time these are private organizations or companies, and it's like, dude, that's the rules of that city state organization. I'm getting an echo. And just be done with it, and then it's just kind of written off. And so I to me, this is more of kind of the same thing. I mean, it's a privately owned company. They have rules. It doesn't seem to be too scandalous to me because I don't care, but to that area in Cleveland, maybe it is. I don't know. I doubt it too, but I'm just saying I don't know. I'm not them. But and then there's just the person in me that wants to go. But I know that's not a really mature and fair attitude to have. But on the front of it, it's like, well, now you kind of understand sometimes what other people go through.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They don't. I know.
No, they
wishful
don't.
Thinking. It's wishful thinking, Turtle. But yeah,
they're the only ones who get persecuted, and everyone else is just persecuting them. I mean, that's to me the tragedy of this situation is that it fits their mindset so perfectly.
Right.
That's the point of the whole goddamn movie, and now here experience, at least as far as they're concerned. I mean, the only difference would be that Orange Barrel, if this scenario is playing out within the continuity of a God's Not Dead movie, Orange Barrel then would sue Pureflix for wanting to put up the billboard, and
Maybe put
Pureflix then
some
would
of them
have
in
to
jail.
go and defend the existence of God in court.
That would be awesome.
Well, you'll get to see it in God's Not Dead 3.
Oh man. Let me see. Da-da-da-da. Orange Barrel Media strives to integrate a high level of artistry into every campaign we bring to the public. We carry this philosophy with us as we expand our footprint by treating each property as an opportunity to add rather than detract from the environment. Our displays make positive contributions to both aesthetic and financial outcome of urban developments. 'Tis their mission statement.
Whatever.
See, I would be more on board with them if they were just like, no, we don't like what this movie has to say,
Yeah.
and so we're choosing not to.
Well, this is just their about us mission statement on their webpage. This isn't like
Sure,
some
no,
official-
but I just mean
Okay.
like instead of them saying it's incendiary, because I mean I feel like that more than anything opens up a door for, because I don't think it's incendiary. That opens a door for Christians to say they're being persecuted, I think.
You know what's funny though? When they say the whole term incendiary, it's like one quote from like one person, and they just from an email I think it was, and they just took it at like and took the ball and just ran with that one quote. But
Well,
anyway,
it's probably a official statement or something.
yeah, I think so. So I mean, we're about an hour according to Gabagai's time clock. So that was pretty much it. I did want to sort of before we go, and only because I've been asked to do this again. Dave Sarche asked me when I wanted to do another hangout, and I don't know how much more I can go with pre-stuff. What do you guys think?
Okay. What are you wanting? Permission or
No, I just don't know how far I can go. I mean,
I find his positions to be incendiary.
and only because like I'll give you an example. I was thinking about this where we were talking and he said there are only two worldviews, and he said a God-believing worldview and a non-believing worldview, and I said, well, no, because under your own definition, God-believing could be Hindu and and Native American, and whoever believes in it, it's like a theist. And he's like, well, no, there are only really two, and I'm just like, I just told you there's more than two. Are you denying there's more? There's other religions.
Tell him there's only two worldviews: the worldview where you wear red glasses and the worldview where you don't wear red glasses.
Right, and that's what I said. And I was thinking about that. I was like, that's like saying there. Well, first of all, and then he goes, well, no, because there only really is only two, and I'm just like, how could you possibly demonstrate that? That's just everything out of a priest's mouth is just, well, this is just how it is because I claim that's how it is.
Well, you can. Well, no, I mean you can make two out of anything. You say
Right.
the positive and then the opposite of that. Like I said, wearing red glasses and then anyone who doesn't wear red glasses.
But it's funny. Given sound problems aside, it was, when we got into some of the other stuff, it's like, well, you're saying all this stuff, but you can't demonstrate any of it. And his answer is, we demonstrate it by showing your worldview to be absurd. And I go, even if you could do that, it doesn't mean your worldview is true. And he goes, yes, it does. And I'm like, how do you? I don't. That does not, to me, logically follow.
He needs to go take a basic logic class.
But he said he did. I asked him that.
I
asked him directly, and he said, yes, I did. And I said, okay, cool. Well, then you should understand that your premises need to be true. And he's just like, well, that's why we ask you questions. And I'm like, oh, jeez. So I don't know. It's just I don't know where to go with precept. I think it's just suffice it to say, it may be a bit of a dead end, but
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, if you don't feel like there's any progress being made, and why keep going into that situation? I don't know. That's my view.
Right.
Dreas Sanchez requested a hangout with me, and I'm gonna try and get with him. I don't know when, but sometime
Has he
coming up here.
gotten better since?
I don't know. We had an exchange on a post this last week, and kind of went back and forth. Where is here? He had posted something. How to know God. Every believer has a starting point. We talk to God. Blah blah blah. And what did I put? If your belief in the Christian God was not true, how would you recognize the error? Which is kind of a standard.
Mm.
How would you figure out if you were wrong? Kind of approach that I've been taking.
Mm.
And so we've gone on back and forth on this for a while, and I don't know. It hasn't been very, very productive.
Yeah, that's
So shockingly, right?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Dreas, when he first came on the scene, like late last year, he was a giant pain in the ass, and he was just a really kind of odd dude. But then, like, he was saying, like, he has some military issues, so everyone's kind of like nicer to him, and he seems to have calmed down since then. But
Yeah.
I think that people come in to the community and they just think they're gonna set the world on fire, and they're kind of just stuffed at the door, so to speak, and
Yeah.
and they get angry. But it's like gosh, I was gonna say this thing and I just totally forgot. But yeah, I don't know how productive it's gonna be, just speaking to them again, Oh, I know what it was. So when we were talking about axioms, right? Because Dave started saying, well, typical precept script, right? Well, all belief systems are based on circular or whatever, right? On presuppositions and starting points and this and that, blah blah. So I asked him, is he taking the Bible as an axiom? He said yes. And so I looked up the definitions of axiom, and there were two. There were a classical philosophical definition and a modern philosophical definition. I read them both, and he said the classical one, where it states that I believe it states something like accepted by all or something like that without any controversy, not controversy, but without question, like universally accepted or something like that, or
Yeah.
And so that he goes, yeah, it's more of that one. It says it is so evident or well established that it is accepted without controversy or question. And he goes, and I go, well, obviously that your own definition doesn't qualify because it's not accepted without controversy or question.
Because that's what we're disputing.
Right. And he goes, well, I would say that it's accurate because you secretly believe in God because of Romans 1. And I'm just like, that has nothing to do with me accepting it. I still don't accept it. I mean, you can.
No, but you do. You're denying it. You see, you do
right,
accept it. You do believe it. You're just lying.
Right, but even if that was the case, it's still not so self-evident or well-established, and it's certainly not without controversy or question. So it doesn't even qualify as an axiom under that definition, to me. But anyway, it doesn't secretly say as an axiom by definition. It doesn't say so evident or well established that it is accepted without controversy or question unless you secretly believe it and are denying it in your unrighteousness. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. On its face, that's not. I'm not a classic philosopher or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that's not what they were going for in that definition.
Okay, fine.
So, but anyway, all right. Well, do you guys got anything else? Do you know when your hangout with Dreas is happening, Gabby? Do you want to?
No, it's supposed to be tonight, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I've got something else I've got going on. I need to contact him, and he's got something going on tomorrow night. I think like a class or something like that. So it's
maybe it's that real cool school he goes to, that seminary college.
Yeah.
No. All right. Well, Next time it's Jesus doll. I want that. I want to see that thing on camera.
All right.
And
Oh, I'm going to be posting a blog, in a post in my blog, regarding a conversation I had with my dad and Turtle's dad.
Oh, you talked to both our dads.
yeah, you got both of them together in the same room.
Yeah.
Awesome. Was it? You want to give us a little precursor, or a little?
Yeah.
Not a spoiler,
well,
but like.
So the whole thrust of the conversation, my goal was to get him to understand that, the loss of our faith for both myself and for Turtle was not something that we just woke up one morning and decided, hey, I'm not going to believe in the Christian God or in the Bible anymore. It was a process for one thing, and for another thing, it was not something that we just chose. It's something that we just came to disbelieve, and so that was the kind of the beginning of the conversation, and the blog post is just kind of chronicling, how the conversation went.
Did it end well? I mean, you guys didn't end on.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
and I purposely kind of set it up so that there was a time limit, because it was in the morning and we had to go get my sister, and I wanted to have the conversation. She was coming in to the airport, and we had to go pick her up. So I knew, there was going to be a limit. It wasn't going to be something that was, protracted and just never ending. And I wanted to limit the scope to just this one topic, and that I think was, something that wasn't threatening directly to his Christian beliefs, and but might hopefully inspire him to think, and also could potentially be a launching point for some future conversations, potentially, anyways.
Now, did you?
And also just to get some perspective on where we're coming from too, I think.
Did you contact him and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you about this," or did it just sort of happen?
No, well, I was visiting. I was there all week long, and I at breakfast that morning, I told him, well, we've had a couple days, goofing around. I play pickleball, and Dad plays pickleball too, and so we caught some games up there, and just we're running around town and things. We had some good time doing stuff together. But I said, well, I'd kind of like to have a more serious conversation with you this morning before my sisters get here, and so that was kind of I brought it up with the intention of kind of having a brief, focused conversation to talk about it. So.
Well, was that always a point of contention with you guys that just kind of never went spoken, and that's why, or
no? But
it was on your mind.
Yeah, it was. It had been on my mind, and I know that, or I kind of had this inkling that he was of the opinion that we chose to abandon our faith, and that at any point we could decide to start believing again, and I tried to prompt him to think, well, I told him, think of something you believe, and try to believe that it's not true, no matter what it is. I gave him the example of who is the current president. So, but anyways, I don't want to go into the whole thing. I'll publish my blog probably in the next day or two, and I'll post it out on my page on Google Plus as well.
And we'll all feverishly go to it and read it.
Oh yeah.
Send the link, and we'll all go check it out.
Will do.
Just me and Turtle. All right, everybody. I think that's our show. Thanks, Ren, for showing up. Thanks, Heavy, for all the info and links. He sent a whole cavalcade of messages and links in the video comments that you'll see, so please go to those.
Next
And
time you should just join us.
I know I'd consider that, like saying, "Why don't you just fucking come in the room, dude?" And I don't know. Sometimes he likes to like um, kind of sit on the sidelines, I guess. But he really is a good guest. So next time, have you get off your tuchus and get in here. So, all right,
Absolutely.
everybody. Well, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good one.